Gentlemen, let me ask you a question that might strike a nerve. When was the last time you felt fully alive at night? When your body was steady, your energy lasting, your sleep deep, and your manhood strong without effort. For countless men past 60, those nights seem like nothing more than fading memories. The reality is, as the years go by, our strength slips away faster once the sun sets. But here's something shocking you may not know. A single nut before bed has the power to change everything almost overnight. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera, a men's health expert and urologist with more than 3 decades of experience guiding men through these struggles. I've sat with thousands of patients who believe their prime years are behind them until we uncovered natural methods that reignited their power, their energy, and their peace of mind. What I share today comes not only from years of medical science, but also from real men who have lived this transformation. And here's what may surprise you. The secret to feeling young again at night isn't in a prescription drug or some overpriced supplement. It's not waiting in a hospital or in a surgical procedure. It's sitting right there in your local store, something you walk past countless times without realizing its potential. One nut that works in harmony with your body's natural cycles to restore what age has slowly taken away. So here's my promise. If you keep watching, you'll discover how this nut can rebuild your stamina, improve your energy, and help you sleep through the night again. In just a moment, I'll reveal exactly what this nut is, how it works, and how you can begin using it tonight. Trust me, this is something you don't want to miss. Before we move forward, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another doctor-approved health insight for men over 60. And I'd love to hear from you. If you're ready to try this nightly nut for more strength, energy, and rest, type 1 in the comments. If you're still hesitant, type 0 and share what's holding you back. I read every single response. Now that you see the promise of this one powerful nut, let's begin with a question every man past 60 needs to ask. Why do nights feel so draining, so heavy, and so far removed from the days of our youth? This is where the real battle begins. Why men feel weaker at night 1. Why men feel weaker at night. When I meet with men in my office, whether in their 60s, 70s, or even 80s, I often hear the same quiet admission. Doctor, I'm fine during the day, but at night I feel old. I feel worn down. I feel like I'm not myself anymore. Perhaps you felt the same. You wake up with reasonable energy, you move through the day, but when evening comes, everything changes. Your body grows heavier, your muscles ache, your focus slows, and the spark that once gave you bedroom confidence seems to fade away. This isn't in your head. The truth is, nightfall shows us the cracks left behind by age. But why does this happen? In our younger years, nighttime is when the body begins repairing itself. Testosterone levels rise, blood vessels widen, and the brain sets itself up for restorative sleep. That's why young men can stay awake late, enjoy intimacy, and wake up refreshed the next day. But after 60, the very processes that once served us start to weaken. Testosterone drops. Nitric oxide, the chemical vital for circulation, declines sharply. Stress hormones like cortisol stay high when they should be lowering. The result, you feel older at night than you do in the morning. And this isn't only about being tired, it's about who you are. When a man loses strength at night, he loses confidence. He holds back with his partner. He feels restless instead of relaxed. One man once told me he dreaded bedtime because it was when he felt most defeated. That broke my heart because I know it doesn't have to be this way. Here's the good news. Feeling older at night isn't permanent. It's a warning sign. Your body is asking for help, and you can give it in the easiest way possible. That's where the night nut comes in. Just one handful before sleep delivers the exact nutrients your body now lacks. Nutrients that can turn evening from weakness into renewal. Now, you may be wondering, what is this missing link? What is this nut that restores strength, sleep, and vitality? Stay with me, because in the next section I'll reveal exactly what it is and why it works like nature's hidden prescription for men after 60. The missing key. The night nut for power 2. The missing key. The night nut for power. For many years, I saw men come into my office carrying the same frustration. Tired eyes, quiet voices, and the weight of knowing their bodies didn't respond the way they used to. They told me about the pills, the supplements stacked in their cabinets, and the late-night ads that promised miracles but brought nothing but disappointment. And I could sense the hopelessness in their words. But what if I told you the real solution was never in a bottle of pills or some overpriced formula? What if the answer was as simple as a nut you can hold in your hand? That nut is the walnut, and it carries more strength than most people realize. When I first explain this to patients, they often look at me with doubt and curiosity. Walnuts are packed with L-arginine, which the body turns into nitric oxide, the gas that opens blood vessels and boosts blood flow for stronger, lasting erections. They are also loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which keep blood vessels healthy and flexible. And maybe most surprising, walnuts naturally contain melatonin, the hormone that signals your brain it's time for deep, refreshing sleep. I remember a man in his late 60s who believed his intimate life was over. He had tried everything without success. When I suggested walnut before bed, he chuckled, but weeks later he returned with tears in his eyes, saying his nights had completely changed. Not only was he sleeping better, but his confidence in intimacy had returned in a way he thought impossible. That's why I call walnuts the night nut for power. They target the very roots of what men lose after 60, circulation, hormones, and sleep. There's no need to complicate the solution when nature has already given it to us. But even though this nut is powerful, there's still a question. Why does your body need it so badly after 60? And why do these key nutrients vanish with time? In the next section, I'll explain why your body loses its natural strength with age, and why walnuts become not just helpful, but essential. 3. Why vital nutrients decline after 60. One of the hardest things I share with patients is this. After 60, the male body is not the same machine it once was. The engine that once ran with power begins to slow. Not because you did something wrong, but simply because time has changed the way your body works. Slowly but surely, age strips away the very nutrients that once kept you strong. I've heard countless men tell me, "Doctor, I haven't changed my diet, but I just don't feel the same anymore." And they're right. Even if you eat the same foods, your body no longer processes or produces key nutrients the way it did when you were younger. Take nitric oxide, for instance. In your 30s and 40s, your body made it effortlessly, helping blood vessels stay wide open, keeping circulation strong, and giving you the firmness you once thought would last forever. But after 60, nitric oxide levels can fall by 50% or more. That means even if your desire is present, your body struggles to follow through. The same decline happens with melatonin. In youth, your brain releases it in abundance each night, guiding you into deep, restorative sleep. After 60, melatonin levels plummet, leaving you restless at the very time your body needs recovery most. And then there's testosterone. While it doesn't vanish overnight, its slow decline becomes undeniable with age. Less testosterone means less strength, less drive, less muscle, and less of that inner fire that makes a man feel alive. Put all of these declines together, and it's no surprise that so many men describe nighttime as a point when everything falls apart. I recall one gentleman who told me, "It feels like my body is leaking strength drop by drop, and I can't stop it." That description stuck with me because it perfectly illustrates what happens when nutrients disappear with age. You're losing vitality without even realizing it. But here's the uplifting truth. You can restore what's missing. Walnuts deliver exactly those nutrients, arginine for nitric oxide, omega-3s for circulation, and melatonin for sleep, that your body no longer produces in abundance. The real question is, how can you tell when these vital elements are slipping away? What are the warning signs your body gives before things collapse? In the next section, I'll show you the hidden signals most men ignore and why catching them early can change everything. 4. The silent signals of deficiency. The silent signals of deficiency, what worries me most as a doctor, is how quietly these shortages creep in. They don't arrive with a crash or dramatic warning. Instead, they whisper, slowly draining your quality of life until one day you realize you're not the man you used to be. I've had patients admit they can't remember the last time they slept through the night. Others confess they avoid intimacy, not because they lack desire, but because they fear embarrassment. Still others say they wake up in the morning more tired than when they went to bed. These aren't random complaints. They're your body's way of signaling that nutrients are missing. The first symptom is disrupted sleep. You might wake up multiple times without cause, or lie awake staring at the ceiling when you should be resting. That broken rhythm robs you of the deep stages of sleep that rebuild hormones and repair blood vessels. The second symptom is weaker erections or fading morning firmness. At first, it's subtle. You notice slower responses or less reliability. Over time, it becomes a constant source of frustration and doubt. The third symptom is daytime exhaustion. Even with enough hours in bed, you feel drained, sluggish, and unmotivated, as if your energy tank is leaking. Add in irritability, mood swings, and a gradual loss of confidence, and suddenly these deficiencies are reshaping your relationships, your outlook, and your sense of identity. One patient once told me, "Doctor, I thought it was just stress. I thought this was normal for my age." And that's a tragedy. Too many men assume these issues are simply part of getting older. But they are not. They are warning signs, your body waving a red flag that it's running on empty. Ignoring them only speeds up the decline. The encouraging truth is you don't have to surrender to this slow fade. There's a natural, accessible way to refill what's missing and feel like yourself again. And it all begins with the right nightly choice. So, which nut holds the answer, and why is it more powerful than all the rest for men over 60? That's exactly what I'll explain next. 5. The right nut the right way. The right nut. The right way. When I tell a patient that the answer to his nighttime struggles might lie in a simple nut, I often see disbelief in his eyes. I've heard it so many times. "Doctor, how could something so ordinary make such a difference?" But that's the beauty of nature. It hides incredible solutions in plain sight. And among all the nuts you'll find, almonds, cashews, pecans, pistachios, only one is uniquely suited to meet the needs of men over 60. That nut is the walnut. Walnuts are more than just a snack. They are a compact powerhouse containing everything your aging body craves at night. Their L-arginine boosts nitric oxide, expanding blood vessels and supporting strong circulation. Their omega-3s fuel the brain and heart, protecting against stiffness and inflammation that steal vitality. And then there's a hidden treasure, natural melatonin. While other nuts may help with energy or heart health, only walnut provide the rare combination that supports erections, stamina, and deep restorative sleep together. It's no accident I call them the night nut for potency. I'll never forget a man in his 70s who switched from almonds to walnuts before bed. He told me, "Doctor, I had no idea what I was missing. My sleep is deeper, my mornings are stronger, and even my wife has noticed." His story isn't rare. I've seen it repeated many times, and it always reminds me how often we overlook the simplest answers. Still, it's not just about knowing which nut to eat. It's about using it correctly. Walnuts must be taken the right way, at the right time, to unleash their full potential. Too many men make small mistakes that rob them of the benefits without realizing it. Which brings us to the next question. How do you take this nut at night to get the results you've been waiting for? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the turning point in your journey back to vigor, strength, and deep sleep. 6. How to take it correctly at night. How to take it correctly at night through the years. I've seen that even the most powerful natural solution can fail if it's not used properly. Walnuts are no different. Many men hear they are healthy, toss them into their diet randomly, and expect miracles. The body works on rhythms, and timing makes all the difference. To unlock the full benefits of this nut, you have to give your body the right dose at the right time. This is where so many men make mistakes. The truth is, you don't need to eat a bowl of walnuts to see results. In fact, too many can cause digestive upset or add unnecessary calories. The sweet spot is just 4 to 6 halves, roughly a small handful. It may not look like much, but in that handful is a rich supply of L-arginine, omega-3 fatty acids, and natural melatonin. That small serving is enough to nourish your blood vessels, fight inflammation, and tell your brain it's time for deep, refreshing sleep. And timing matters even more. Walnuts should be eaten about an hour before bedtime. Not in the morning, not midday, and not as part of a heavy dinner. Why? Because that's when your body is shifting into its nightly repair mode. By eating them, then, you're giving your body exactly what it needs at the very moment it needs it most. Think of it like fueling a car before a long trip. Without fuel, the car stutters. With it, everything runs smoothly. I once spoke with a man who said he'd been eating walnuts every day for years but hadn't noticed much change. When I asked when he ate them, he said, usually at lunch. After moving his walnuts to before bed, his result was dramatic: deeper sleep, more energy, and renewed confidence. Sometimes success isn't about doing more, it's about doing things smarter. So, if you want vigor, stamina, and solid rest, remember this. It's not just a nut that matters, but how and when you eat it. Once you get this right, the next question is, what changes should you expect, and how soon will you notice them? Let's explore the transformation timeline that most men experience with this nightly habit. 7. What to expect. The transformation timeline. What to expect. The transformation timeline, one of the most common questions men ask me after I explain walnuts is, Doctor, how long before I notice a difference? It's a fair concern. When you've been struggling for years with poor sleep, fading strength, and disappointing performance, you want to know if a simple habit can truly change things. The reality is, each man's body is different, but I've seen a consistent pattern in my patients who stick to walnuts before bed. During the first week, the earliest change usually appears in sleep. Many men tell me they drift off faster and wake up fewer times during the night. For some, this alone feels like a miracle because quality sleep is the foundation of everything else. With better sleep comes steadier moods, sharper thinking, and less irritability. By the second week, morning energy begins to rise. You don't feel as heavy getting out of bed, and daily tasks feel less overwhelming. The fog begins to lift. By the third or fourth week, something even more noticeable happens. Erections become firmer, especially morning ones. This is one of the clearest signs of vascular health returning. Men often describe it with a sense of relief and pride because it proves their body is still capable and alive. And it's not only physical, confidence grows. Men approach intimacy with excitement instead of hesitation, which strengthens relationships in ways no pill can match. By the end of the first month, these benefits reinforce each other. Restful sleep balances hormones. Better circulation supports both sexual function and heart health. Energy multiplies, making you feel like yourself again. I've seen this cycle transform not just health, but marriages, confidence, and outlook on life. But here's the key. Patience and consistency are everything. Walnuts are not a magic pill. They're a nightly investment in your vitality. And when used correctly, they can deliver changes no supplement or drug can match. Still, even with something as natural as walnuts, I've seen men sabotage their results with avoidable mistakes. In the next section, I'll explain the 3 most common pitfalls and how to steer clear of them so you don't waste your effort. 8. Avoid these 3 mistakes. Avoid these 3 mistakes even with a natural powerhouse like walnuts. Success often comes down to avoiding simple errors. I've seen men give up too soon, convinced walnuts don't work, when the real issue was how they were using them. And I want you to learn from their experience. The first mistake is overeating. More does not mean better. 4 to 6 hours are all you need. When men eat handfuls, hoping to supercharge the effect, they usually end up with stomach issues or extra weight. This isn't about overload. It's about precision, giving your body the right fuel at the right time. The second mistake is eating walnuts at the wrong time. I've had patients proudly say they eat them faithfully every morning, yet they see little change. That's because the real magic happens at night. Walnuts' melatonin work for your body's evening cycle, while their arginine prepares your system during rest. Timing is crucial, and bedtime is when this nut shines. The third mistake is mixing walnuts with heavy, sugary, or greasy foods. I've met men who ate them candied, salted, or roasted in oil, assuming they'd still get the benefits. But additives dull or even cancel their power. Walnuts work best plain, raw, and simple, just the nut itself. I recall one man who said he'd seen no results after months of eating walnuts. When I asked how, he admitted most were coated in sugar. After switching to raw walnuts an hour before bed, his sleep improved, his energy rose, and his performance strengthened. It's a reminder I give to every patient. It's not only what you eat, but how you eat it. Avoiding these mistakes may sound basic, but they are the difference between frustration and transformation. And if you want to take the benefits even further, there's a way to pair walnuts with other key nutrients for results beyond what walnuts alone can deliver. In the next section, I'll reveal that special combination and why it can be a game changer for men over 60. 9. The Secret Boost, Walnut Plus Nutrients. The Secret Boost, Walnut Plus Nutrients over time. I've seen that the body often responds best when we give it not just one solution, but a complete set of tools working together. Walnuts are powerful on their own, but when combined with a few specific nutrients, the results can be extraordinary. I call this the hidden boost because most men have never been told that their nightly walnuts can work even harder when paired with the right nutrients. One of the most powerful partners is zinc. Zinc is critical for testosterone production, and when levels drop, your body struggles to maintain the hormone that fuels strength and vitality. Many men over 60 unknowingly run low on zinc, and the result shows up as softer erections, slower recovery, and a fading sex drive. But when walnuts are paired with zinc-rich foods like oysters, pumpkin seeds, or lean beef, you create a synergy that supercharges your body's natural drive. Another important ally is vitamin B6. This vitamin supports brain chemistry and hormone balance, helping your body regulate sleep, energy, and mood. I've had men tell me that when they added B6-rich foods such as bananas or salmon to their evening routine alongside walnuts, they woke up calmer, clearer, and more refreshed. It was as if walnuts laid the foundation, and B6 built the walls around it. And let's not overlook magnesium. Walnuts contain some, but combining them with magnesium-rich foods like dark chocolate or spinach can take relaxation and deep sleep even further. One man once told me, "Doctor, when I began pairing walnuts with a square of dark chocolate at night, I slept through the night for the first time in years." That one simple change gave him back the sense of control he thought was gone forever. The hidden boost isn't about complicating your life. It's about small, thoughtful pairings that multiply the power of what you're already doing. Walnuts open the door, and these nutrients push it wider. But even with all this science, something deeper is at stake. Because what good are vigor, sleep, and strength if they don't reach the very heart of who you are? In the final section, I want to speak to that emotional side, why reclaiming your nights is about far more than health. It's about reclaiming your life. The emotional core, why this matters. 10. At the end of the day, gentlemen, this isn't just about a nut or even about blood flow, hormones, and sleep. It's about something much deeper. It's about how you feel as a man when the lights go out and the world gets quiet. I've met men who looked healthy from the outside but carried a heavy burden within. The weight of frustration, of wondering if they had lost their edge, of fearing their best days were behind them. And that pain is not just physical. It is emotional, relational, and it touches every part of life. When a man cannot sleep well, he wakes drained, with less energy for the things he loves. When erections weaken, he may quietly withdraw from intimacy, not out of lack of desire, but out of fear of letting his partner down. That distance can create silence, and silence can hurt more than words ever could. And when vitality fades, so too does the confidence that fuels passion, purpose, and joy. These are not small losses. They cut to the core of identity. I remember a man in his mid-60s who said, "Doctor, I don't need the body of a 30-year-old. I just want to feel like myself again." That honesty struck me because it reflects what so many men truly want, not perfection, but restoration. To wake rested, to feel steady and strong, to share closeness without hesitation, to look in the mirror and still see fire in their eyes. That's why this matters. Walnuts are not just about nutrients. They are about giving you back a sense of control. They are about reminding you that age does not define desire, that 60 is not the end of strength, that your nights can still hold intimacy, power, and peace. And often, the emotional renewal that comes with restored sleep, vigor, and potency is even more powerful than the physical changes themselves. So as we move to the conclusion, let's tie everything together, because this is not just a story about a handful of walnuts. It's about what happens when you take back your nights, your mornings, and your manhood. Conclusion. Gentlemen, we walk through a journey that touches every corner of a man's life after 60. We began with the truth that nights often grow heavy with age. Sleep breaks apart, energy fades, and confidence quietly slips away. We uncovered the missing piece, the walnut, nature's night nut, packed with what your body craves. We explored why nitric oxide, melatonin, and testosterone decline with time, and how walnuts can begin to restore them. We uncovered the hidden symptoms too many men mistake as just aging: restless sleep, sluggish mornings, and fading firmness. We explained why walnuts stand apart, how to take them properly, and what the transformation timeline looks like when you stay consistent. We exposed the mistakes to avoid, the hidden boosts of combining walnuts with zinc, B6, and magnesium. And finally, we touch the emotional heart of it all, why reclaiming your nights is about reclaiming your manhood, intimacy, and joy. I've sat across from men who thought their story was over, who believed decline was inevitable. And I've watched their eyes light up when they realized they had the power to fight back with something as simple as a nightly ritual. 4 to 6 walnut halves before bed may not look like much, but it represents a decision to sleep deeply, to wake strong, to feel confident and ready again, and to share closeness without fear. That is not small, it is everything. Picture yourself 1 month from now, going to bed without dread, waking without exhaustion, and looking in the mirror with pride. That future is possible, and it begins not with pills or complicated routines, but with 1 small handful of walnuts each night. So here's my challenge. Start tonight. Take back your sleep, your strength, and your confidence. Age shapes us, but it does not have to define us. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, and I want you to remember, 1 nut at night can change your life. Now go reclaim your nights, your mornings, and the man you were always meant to be. Gentlemen, before we close, I want to speak directly to you. If this video gave you hope, if it reminded you that life after 60 can still be filled with intimacy, energy, and peace, then I ask for 1 small favor. Please take a moment to like this video. It may seem small, but each click tells the platform that men's health matters, helping this message reach other men silently struggling. Share this video with a friend, a brother, or even your son, because 1 conversation can change a life. And I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me if you're ready to begin this nightly ritual. Type yes if you'll start tonight, or share your story so others can learn from your journey. And if you'd like to support more content like this, consider a small donation. Every contribution helps me create more honest, doctor-backed advice for men over 60 who deserve dignity, vitality, and strength. Together, we can build a community where no man feels alone in his fight for life after 70.